Vershawn Jackson for Brant Excavating. Brant's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brant is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brant Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrantExcavating.com. They're also hiring. So join the team today. Brant Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go big brand.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club, or space club, and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? No, forget that. How about a margarita club? Get to Upside and join the best club in flavors of margarita, like Maui Wow, burnt pineapple, and all 10 souvenir. Make it your new Monday night dish. $1 margaritas and $4 taco basket. Grab the crew and head on over. Monday nights or any night. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Jay Foreman here. Join us on Thursday, August game show for Nebraska against Minnesota at the Warhorse Casino in Southwest Lincoln. We'll go from 4 p.m. to kickoff at 7 p.m. with the whole ticket crew. Make sure to drop by and see us at the Warhorse Casino.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their community in standing ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards Luncheon on October 6th in Lincoln. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, the Nebraska Broadcasters Association, and this station.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! He's going to go out here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball machine legend, basketball shooting coach is mine, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
That's right. Getting back after it here on a Monday game week.
Game week.
Officially there. We got today, we got Tuesday, we got Wednesday, and we will have our show on Thursday. We will be the last thing you hear before our pregame coverage, 2 to 4 on the block, 4 to 7 pregame coverage from Warhorse before Nebraska and Minnesota on Thursday. I'm Austin Norman. He is Eric Strickland, back from handling business.
It was great.
Taken care of?
Yeah, it was
Excellent.
great. It was great. We'll have some news probably soon coming as to what the prospects is going to be here in Nebraska. We're going to be bringing something that will be an absolute blessing, I think, to the community in some forms in the way that it's done. I'll probably have them come on the show as well. I mean, it's going to be a great opportunity. It's in the health and wellness and the health, in the medical field. So it's beautiful, man. I'm looking forward to it. As well, I'm looking forward to this week, Huskers. I'm really, it's been so quiet. The camp is quiet. Yes, you have the press conference, but you really don't. They can give you what they want to give you, but do you really know until they set foot on the field come Thursday? And so it's going to be exciting, man. I'm wired up. I'm ready for them to go.
You'll finally have something to compare their words against.
Yeah.
The product on the field versus what it is they're saying. We got to shout out Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Big thanks to Charles and his crew for sponsoring our show. Again, 2 to 4 weekdays here on 93.7 The Ticket. They open up again on Wednesday, so you can get a good pregame meal. If that's your good luck charm, go get it Thursday. Win or lose on Friday, Mary Ellen's is the place to go. If they win, it's a perfect celebratory meal. If they lose, eat your sorrows away. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul.
Go get it. Go get it. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. So this came to me a little bit strict, just thinking about how confident I am in different aspects of Nebraska football, especially against Minnesota. We'll get to that next segment, but we're going to start it with some more general college football questions, some less specific to Nebraska ones. All of these on a scale of 1 to 10. Text line, comment section as well. Chime in 402-464-5685 if you have thoughts. Let's just start here in the Big Ten. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that Michigan wins the Big Ten this year?
I'm going to say 7.
Wow. Okay.
10 being best, right?
Yes.
I'm going to say 7. And the reason I'm going to say 7 is there's some things you know about Edwards. There's the things you know about Corum. McCarthy, we just still I want to see a little bit more.
Mhm.
I know he's getting his full opportunity now to lead the squad from the onset until the end. But that's where a little bit of my hesitation, not only because of him, but also because of one of the best receivers in the country is there at Ohio State.
Mhm.
We just still don't know the uncertainty of that situation. It's why I move more up the spectrum of the 10. Then we look at Penn State. And I think Penn State, I believe that Penn State probably has a better shot to upset Michigan than actually Ohio State does. And I'm just going to stand on that for reasons that I really think I think this is Penn State's time. I think they've been tired of kind of waiting in the water a little bit, just kind of waiting for the wave to come like a surfer would do, right?
Just lay on the board.
Yeah, just
They're
laying
down.
there, and then the waves aren't really coming, but they're there, but they're just not. You're not catching the ones down the way,
Right,
down the beach,
right.
the South Shore. They're hitting all the waves, and you're over there stuck, and you can't get one. So I think that's Penn State's play is they have a better chance. I think their defense is better. I think finally getting over the Clifford situation and getting over to Aller and letting him now take over, I think they're going to be all right.
Scale of 1 to 10, confidence that the Big Ten champion is undefeated this year.
5. I think the two best are going to get beat, but they're still going to be in contention in place because I still believe in the Big Ten. I still believe in the streak of the Big Ten. I think that they're still strong enough to get a little bit, and this is why I think the other question may be answered.
That other question is, how confident are you, scale of 1 to 10, the Big Ten gets 2 playoff teams this year?
I say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to say 6.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to say more 6. And I'm going to say 6 because I think if Penn State does upset one of them, I think they've got a chance to run the gamut. I think that's where one of their main obstacles is going to be. And if they can do it, I think, being where they sit right now, I think they're 7? They're like right around 7.
Yeah.
They're in top 10.
Yeah.
So I figure if they're able to clip one of them, and obviously one of them's going to go and then the other one's going to sit and wait.
Right.
This is where I think that's where one of those teams win out ultimately.
So in that case, do you think most likely, again, we don't know how Georgia's season's going to look, LSU, Florida State, Clemson, Alabama, USC.
So you think it's a potential for SEC to get 3?
No, I don't. I'm just saying those are teams that are in the conversation.
I'm just throwing it out there.
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right.
Do you think it's more likely the Big Ten gets the number 1 overall seed and then the 4 seed that sneaks in, or the Big Ten gets the 2 and the 3?
Yeah, I'm thinking it may be a sneak in. Now, so for me, here's what's crazy. It's very possible that this can be a prelude or a preview unto why the expansion and unto why the super conferences could be trouble. Because if this happens, if this scenario happens where 2 Big Ten and 2 SEC schools get in, there's going to be a lot of people heated about that, right? This is where that discussion is going to start to build up. This is when people are going to start talking about next year. And to me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am one to think on theories. I just throw stuff out there and let them see where they stick on the wall. I think that's a possibility, though. And if it does, now, who out of the Big 12, right? There are teams in the Big 12 right now that are going to be trying to make a statement. One, the exitee teams, which the teams that are exiting, let me say that there's no exitee. The teams that are exiting, where you got Oklahoma and Texas. Oklahoma's trying to change the narrative on with Venables being a defensive coach and the direction of that program. Yours is trying to make a statement because I think he wants to exit and get into the bidding with that huge quarterback grouping that's going to be coming out. So those teams are going to be trying to make a statement in the Big 12. I think if it comes out, it's going to be somebody from the Big 12, one, or unless I don't even think it's going to be Clemson. Look out to the ACC. I think Florida State might do some damage. I'm just going
Okay.
to throw it out there. I don't, I could be wrong, but I'm just going to throw it out there.
To play off what you're saying, scale of 1 to 10, confidence that Clemson or Florida State wins the ACC, pretty high.
Yeah. 10.
10?
10.
Okay. Tying that all in, the way you get 2 Big Ten and 2 SEC teams in the 4-team playoff is if it's like Georgia LSU or Georgia Bama, and then you have the East winner and the East runner-up, all with 1 loss. That would also mean Florida State wins the ACC at 10-2. Clemson wins it at 10-2. USC, Oregon, Washington win the Pac-12 at 10-2. I don't know if 11-1 gets them in.
I don't think so either.
Maybe USC, depending on who that loss is.
Mm-hmm.
I really think the ACC champ and the Pac-12 champ basically have to plan on going undefeated.
Dang, you're undefeated in the conference. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think they have to go undefeated in conference and have to lose a big one. Like
a big one in a close way.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, let's just give an example of like a matchup.
Like what if LSU beats Florida State, but Florida State runs the table from there?
You see what I'm saying?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it's got to be something on that level. If it's not, I don't think it happens. Anything less than that, I don't think. Anything less than winning the conference and if they have a championship game, I don't think it gets there.
On the Big 12, this is what I'm curious about your take in. Everybody in the pack or scale of 1 to 10 confidence, how confident are you that everybody in the Big 12 loses at least 2 conference games? Last year, TCU ran the table in the regular season. They didn't.
Happens this year.
Right, I'm with you. Does someone go 9-1 or 8-1 in conference?
Here's what I will say. I think the team for me that has a chance is possibly K-State.
Okay.
Of going that 1 loss potential. Definitely, I think they could probably go with the 2 loss, but I think K-State has a shot at it.
I don't think there's anyone out of the Big 12 that loses fewer than 2 games.
Yeah.
I think that conference is just going to cannibalize itself. Kansas State is probably the best team in the conference right now. I don't think they're unbeatable.
No.
I think everyone in the Big 12 is good enough to spring up and get them.
No doubt.
Texas has to prove it. Oklahoma has to prove it. Oklahoma State, we'll see. Texas Tech hasn't been there. Baylor's got to bounce back. Houston doesn't scare me.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in the Big 12 is going to have 2 losses, and that means no playoff for them.
Yeah, exactly. So this question is to you. Who out of the Big 12 needs to make the biggest impact between the exit teams that are leaving?
Texas is getting more hype. Oklahoma is kind of back half of the top 25 receiving votes right now. Texas is preseason top 15. It's got to be Texas. They have Ewers. They have year 3 of Sark, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Got to find
no Bijan Robinson.
I was just going to say, got to find a running game replacement.
Find it.
And the defense has to show up in big moments. Texas has been let down by both the offense and the defense at inopportune times. So to me, Texas has the best chance just because they're starting the season ranked higher. They'll need Florida State and Clemson to lose. They'll need Penn State to fall back to the pack a little bit. The other one I have for you, another team that I think we're sleeping on to some degree, but for a good reason, is Alabama. 1 to 10 confidence level that Alabama wins 10 games this year.
Oh. Losing Bryce Young, man, just makes it, because I've seen those Alabama teams when they lose AJ McCarron and not that they're not, to me, AJ McCarron was Stetson Bennett. Solid, but wasn't going to do nothing like crazy and, flashy, and just gets the job done. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But gosh darn it. I don't know. You say 10 wins?
10 wins.
I think I think the will of the program this year helps them to skate. So I'm going to throw it out there and say, yeah. There's an article out right now, and Saban talks about basically whipping people into shape to make them want to quit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Putting them in a place. And the only other time that I've seen that happen, and then that was when I was watching the Florida Netflix
Mhm.
documentary
Mhm.
where
Urban,
Urban Meyer, God darn it, I hate when my mind does that.
I got you.
Urban Meyer comes in and he basically, I mean, you're looking at them filming him and they're throwing up and they're competing against each other and they're doing these competition drills that are actually, they're really good because they're not going to really try to hurt you, but they make you have to like press for it. And them guys were throwing up and sick and looked like they were about to pass out and all of that, right? Sometimes it takes that to whip you back into shape because you can get complacent. And you saw that's what happened with Urban Meyer. And then
Right.
when after they won it, you
Mhm.
know, they like just
We
loosey
here, we
goosey.
made it.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I think Saban's kind of dealing with some of that. He's had a way to kind of mitigate it a little bit to cover it. I think he's dealing with that, and I think he's retooling them to get back to focus.
The scary thing is that Alabama's the hunter, not the hunted
Yes.
anymore. And they've had a couple years to get used to that. With
Yeah.
Georgia being on top, LSU won that division last year. Helping Alabama's case, they get Texas at home, they get Ole Miss at home, they get Tennessee at home, they get LSU at home. Do have to go to Auburn. We'll see how Auburn is with Peyton Thorne. But
They're
their four
sneaky.
toughest games are all at home.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yes. It's going to be. I mean, the confidence levels are going to go up tremendously when you're talking about playing at home. Yes, there can be disadvantages to playing at home. Sometimes it's pressure,
Mhm.
but I think the comfort for a retooling team
Mhm.
is always better to be sleep in your bed and get your routine. Road routines are cool, but listen, I just got back from a trip. I want to sleep in my bed tonight. Like
Mhm.
the hotels are cool and fine and dandy, but gosh darn it, there's nothing more comforting than to return home or to be at home when it's time to face some of your toughest opponents. This is why home court advantage I think is good in playoffs and stuff like that because you're
Mhm.
just able to get into a good routine.
402-464-5685, the numbers that you need to know to the Starter Heyman text line and Honda of Lincoln hotline. That's a good overview of college football. I'm Austin Norman. He's Eric Strickland. But Starter Heyman text line, we want your input next segment specifically. We're going to do the same 1 to 10 scale, but with some Husker questions this time on the offense, on the defense, on topics against Minnesota. So get ready to tell us just how confident you are in our questions about Nebraska football. We'll give you those questions. Get to your answers next.
Proud to be voted Best Vape Shop.
Generation V.
Is thrilled to announce our newest location is now open at 27th and Superior.
Generation V.
Explore the largest selection of vape, Delta 8, Kratom, all your favorite brands of disposables, e-liquid, and premium THCA flower.
Generation V.
We'll guide you through our extensive collection to help you find the perfect fit.
Generation V.
With locations in Lincoln, Omaha, Seward, York, Kearney, and Beatrice. Visit our newest store now open at 27th and Superior in Lincoln. GenerationV.com. E6 contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
You had to know that when Wingstop set out to make a crispy, juicy chicken sandwich, they wouldn't make it in just one flavor. They'd make it in all 12, like lemon pepper, mango habanero, hickory smoked barbecue, and OG hot. So why have one new favorite chicken sandwich when you can have 12? Try the new sauced and tossed Wingstop chicken sandwich today for only $5.49 at Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Valid for a limited time and available at participating Wingstop locations only while supplies last. Price subject to applicable taxes and fees.
You deserve the best. With a Liberty First MasterCard, you can pay down your high-rate debt and could save hundreds when you transfer the balance. The Liberty First Credit Union MasterCard has no balance transfer fees, no cash advance fees, and no annual fee. And with a fixed rate as low as 9.99% APR and you choose rewards, you'll be able to manage your card your way. Visit libertyfirstcu.com. Rates and terms are based on your credit and subject to change. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
Repeat after me. I will not touch the fuse box.
I will probably not touch the fuse box.
Sip, do you remember what happened last time?
Yeah, I remember.
What happened?
Half of the city block lost power.
And?
My chicken condo went haywire.
That's right. The chickens ran wild. So what do we do instead?
Call Joe at Ambition Electric and let him handle everything. Look, saved on speed dial.
Ambition Electric, 402-217-3415 or online at ambitionelectric.com.
Vershawn Jackson for Brand Excavating. Brent's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brent is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brent Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrentExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brent Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go Big Brent!
It's August, and that means summer is winding down and the kids are back to school with lots of fall activities coming up. All great things, but also cause lots of stress. Instead of letting your nerves get the best of you and cause uncomfortable tightness, get ahead of it all with a massage from The Body Shop. The Body Shop in Lincoln is your place for all types of massages. Deep tissue, hydrating, sports, Swedish, hot stone, aroma, and more. And don't forget about their couples massages. Book your appointment today at thebodyshoplincoln.com. The Body Shop at 48th and A. Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy Labor Day. They are thankful for everyone in the workforce who makes this country great and celebrate a deserved day off to rest and reflect. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers, and if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Don't allow uninvited guests to take over your home. Trust Bats to Rats for a peaceful and rodent-free living space.
Jay Foreman here. Join us on Thursday, August 31st for our pregame show for Nebraska against Minnesota at the Warhorse Casino in Southwest Lincoln. We'll go from 4 p.m. to kickoff at 7 p.m. with the whole ticket crew. Make sure to drop by and see us at the Warhorse Casino.
The Butchery by Venue is Lincoln's premier specialty grocers. Take the quality of Venue home with you with our hand-cut steaks, handcrafted burgers, and locally sourced offerings. Browse our wide selection of specialty products designed to enhance your dining experiences with cheeses, spices, sauces, and more. We also have an exclusive collection of liquors, whiskeys, and bourbons at prices you're sure to love. Stop in to the Butchery by Venue today, located in our Venue at Home storefront at 70th and Pioneers, just 2 doors down from Venue Restaurant and Lounge.
Get ready for an unforgettable night at Ignite Lincoln 15. On September 14th, Rococo Theater will come alive with captivating stories from diverse voices that inspire change and spark connection. You'll hear from 12 passionate speakers, including our 5 nonprofit finalists, who are making a real impact. Be part of this remarkable event that celebrates the power of storytelling. Secure your spot now by purchasing tickets at ignitelincoln.org and join us in creating a brighter future together. Don't miss your chance to experience Ignite Lincoln 15, a night of inspiration, community, and possibility.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a slight chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, partly sunny skies. We'll see an afternoon high temperature of around 88. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low of around 62. Tomorrow, we'll see a lot more sunshine and seasonal high temperatures, and afternoon high of around 87. Meteorologist Kyle Cluck from 3.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block. I'm Austin Norman, joined by Eric Strickland. Jumping back into confidence numbers. Again, scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that? And we'll ask some questions. 402-464-5685 if you want to give your thoughts on that. Strick, let's start big picture. With Nebraska football, we'll start narrowing down to Minnesota at the end of the segment. Scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that Nebraska football can rush the passer consistently this year?
Well, Coach White, I think, has done a tremendous job with what he's done with the defenses there for the Syracuse Orangemen for the last 2 years, getting those defenses not with the same type of talent that I think he has on this side with Nebraska, but getting him into the top 25 defensive wise. So I'm going to say, what's the question again?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that Nebraska can rush the passer consistently?
Okay. So I think he's going to have to come up with some creative ways. I don't think we have, and I could be wrong. Maybe the workouts this year will have gotten us to a point where there could be domination off the edge this year, which we haven't had. And I don't know.
A decade?
Starter Heyman text line 402-4645. Who was the last? Who was the last one that you could say? Is it Randy Gregory? You know what I'm saying? Or on the interior and Dominican Sue? Who is the last one that we could even just say was a dominant presence coming off the edge or in rushing the passer? I'm hoping somebody emerges out of this group, but I'm thinking the 3-3-5 is going to allow you to send people from different places, to set up some potential confusion, to run different types of stunts that would make offenses to have to make adjustments and really have to read and be paying attention in their coverages or their slides. So if that's the case, I think they'll do well early, because I think there's not probably a lot of tape. People are probably trying to go back and watch Syracuse tape to see kind of what he's doing, but we really don't know with this defense right now. So I'm going to say consistency. I'm going to say 5.
5? Okay. I'm in the same neighborhood with that one. I think that towards the end of last year, we saw some more and more creative stuff from Bill Bush as he got more comfortable with his personnel. So hat tip to him for that. Eric Chenander's defense has never got after the passer consistently, but I think this defense is going to have to, right?
What's Chenander? Bender don't break, kind of?
Yeah.
More like that. Okay, go ahead.
Tony White says this is going to be an aggressive attacking defense, right? They're going to rely on what he calls Husker speed instead of always power, right? If you're going to play a 3-3-5 and be a little lighter, your speed has to overcome Big Ten power to some degree. Obviously, you have to be powerful enough, but you're going to be relying mostly on your speed. You're also going to be relying on Tony White and his schemes, right? The player's understanding of it. So to me, I'm going to say it's a 4 out of 10 confidence that Nebraska can do it enough. But most of that confidence comes from Tony White's knowledge, but also his willingness to bring pressure, to bring extra guys, and to stick with the plan of mixing it up on opponents. I found this interesting, just going back to last year's team. Sack leader Garrett Nelson, 5.5. Not a lot. That's less. That's a sack every other game, essentially. O'Shawn Mathis had 1 sack every 3 or 4 games with 3.5. Caleb Tanner, 2.5. Quentin Newsome and Ty Robinson were tied in sacks with 2 each. Reimer had 1. Gifford had 1. Hausman, Maga Clements, Drew had 1. Feast had 1. You have, by my count, 2, 4, 5, 6 returning sacks on your roster.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's just not. Next kind of big picture question then, sticking with the defense. Scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that the defense can play fast enough to make the 3-3-5 work?
Ooh, with the big polar bear up front. I mean, Ty's very bullish and he's not super shifty to me. Jerry Jeudy, he seems to be kind of Elijah. Freaking Jerry. Boy.
I get you.
You understand. Elijah Jeudy. Yeah. I mean, for me, I think it's gonna be interesting. I think from the linebacker positions, and I think from I think they could do it from that. I just don't know about the up front guys. Listen, I'm just hoping the up front guys just hold down the fort. Like just get in gaps and just, if you've got to stonewall in gaps just to not allow, openings or holes or cut back lanes and all of that stuff to develop. I'm okay with that, because then I can angle off, get downhill, and then swarm and corral runners, because that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to do that against Michigan. They're going to have to do that against some of these teams, Michigan State even. They're going to have to do that even with Minnesota. They're going to have to do that type of stuff. They're going to have to close these gaps and just not allow cutbacks and gashes and holes. And so I think that's going to be important to set not only the edge, but set also in the gaps and just be strong enough to stonewall and not allow double teams to push you. Yeah.
To answer the previous question, you said you wouldn't be surprised if the pass rush is better early before teams adjust. I wonder if Nebraska is going to be faster by the end of the year than they are in game 1.
That's what I'm hoping.
You don't really have time to wait. You have to be ready to go against Minnesota. But I think Colorado, Northern Illinois, Louisiana Tech will be a great time for this team to get just the basic bread and butter play calls down. And yes, it's about being fast in a straight line and using speed, but it's also up here. It's also between the ears. And I think that's a huge part of playing fast.
Well, and then what you're saying too is between the ears. It's important when you're dealing with between the ears and the wiping away of mistakes and all of that, because of the fact that teams are going to continue to come pressing downhill on you. And so you have to be able to understand what coach wants, what the game plan calls for, and just be disciplined enough to do your job. Just listen, don't try to be coming off and doing stuff that's a setup for double moves and all kinds of stuff. No, just stay in your lane, do your job, be where you're supposed to be, and hopefully that'll work out.
To the offensive side of the ball, scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that the offensive line is better with essentially the same personnel?
4. They got to show and prove. I need showing and proving. I'm 4.
That part.
Until you show me something.
Donovan Raiola is the same coach. You essentially throw Nuri Nuili and Ben Scott in. So I guess,
I like Scott.
I do too.
No, I like that leadership at the center position, because there's so much that needs to happen and needs to be called and needs to be observed. And when somebody's seasoned and understands that role, it's and then it's got to be conveyed it's got to be on the same page with, Jeff Sims behind me. You know what I mean? So you're hoping that there's a good relationship or some communication, some camaraderie between those two to be able to make those types of plays.
Right. And you hope that the mindset has shifted for the offensive line and that they're put in positions to succeed. Be big nasties.
I'm hoping some pit bull, Rottweiler, some dog mentalities. Like, I'm trying to pancake you. Like, the minute you step in front of me, like if you've ever heard mic'd up sessions with like NFL or some college, like I was watching one, what was his name? He went to, he was so dominant, but he was a defensive lineman, and he was mic'd up, and he used to talk to the lineman, and it would be, sometimes it'd be cool, and sometimes it'd be like, man, I'm going to be here all day, man. You just, you might be tired by the time you leave, or you might be bruised, but and those types of, no, I want our line to get back to that. Like, oh, okay. Let me show you when I pancake you, when I put you and lay you down, or when I crack this back on you that, you land on your back. I want that type of intensity from the line. It's just been like, they've just been so, let me just give it up, and here, come take it. And here, have my quarterbacks right there. Just run by my shoulder. And I'm not even going to touch you. Go get it. That's what it seems like the last few years.
It's been the result.
Frustrating.
At the very least. Yeah. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, drop a comment. Let us know what's your confidence level that the offensive line is better. Starter Heyman text line open for you as well, 402-464-5685. Last big picture question, Strick, and we'll do the Nebraska versus Minnesota confidence level to wrap up hour 1 here. Scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that the wide receivers and tight ends will step up and make plays?
I mean, I think that they're capable. How confident am I, though?
How confident are you? That's the question. 1 to 10.
I'm going to say 4.
Okay.
I just haven't seen them release very well or create a lot of separation. And for me, I just don't know if Sims' accuracy is where, because if you have receivers that can't create separation and you have receivers that can't, their route running is okay, and it's just moderate, where cornerbacks can pretty much jump and it creates tight windows. Is Jeff Sims that guy? I just don't think so. I
haven't seen it yet.
I don't think he's good in tight windows. I think running in space, crossing. I think his mid-range intermediate passes are okay. Deep passes, he's got a big arm, but I don't think the accuracy there. I think he's good on short, maybe touches. Not like if you have to touch it over linebackers, I think he struggles with that a little bit. So I just got to see more.
The hope for Nebraska is that those guys aren't called to do too much, right? Billy Kemp is a guy you should be able to trust with the game on the line. If Marcus Washington gets healthy, I liked the trajectory he was on. But if Alex Bullock, Ty Hahn, Isaiah Garcia Castaneda can just make the play in front of him, right? If you need 5, get 7. If you need 12, get 15. Right? Hold on to the ball, take a hit in traffic, they shouldn't have the world asked of them.
Mm-hmm.
The job should be pretty simple. They're not, to me, going to be the game breakers. Anything you get beyond just standard production is gravy, in my opinion. But like you said, it does come down to the quarterback. And I think that's a good spot to leave it after we get to Kyle here on YouTube. He says for the O-line, he gives them a 6. He says too many experienced guys to say that they wouldn't improve. Also, another year with Raiola has to be meaningful. And like I was saying, Strick, hopefully Coach Satterfield has a plan that puts them in better situations. That all makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me too.
Mm-hmm.
It does, and I'm very hopeful. But again, I'm just not going to drink too much Kool-Aid. I need to see it show and prove. Until I see, I'm going to stick to what I know, as opposed to hope that it happens. You know, I'm going to stick to what I know.
Good stuff there on some kind of overview general Nebraska football topics. We're going to get into a little bit of Nebraska, Minnesota next. A few more 1 to 10 scale questions for you to answer. 402-464-5685. If you have any thoughts on those big picture questions, we'll dive in a little bit more to Minnesota and Nebraska. Again, kickoff on Thursday at 7 o'clock. We'll have pregame coverage from 4 to 7. But this is On the Block with you for another hour and change. Back with more after this.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sutter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SutterHeyman.com. Repeat after me. I will not touch the fuse box.
I will probably not touch the fuse box.
Sip, do you remember what happened last time?
Yeah, I remember.
What happened?
Half of the city block lost power.
And?
My chicken condo went haywire.
That's right. The chickens ran wild. So what do we do instead?
Call Joe at Ambition Electric and let him handle everything. Look, saved on speed dial.
Ambition Electric, 402-217-3415, or online at ambitionelectric.com. It's August, and that means summer is winding down and the kids are back to school with lots of fall activities coming up. All great things, but also cause lots of stress. Instead of letting your nerves get the best of you and cause uncomfortable tightness, get ahead of it all with a massage from The Body Shop. The Body Shop in Lincoln is your place for all types of massages. Deep tissue, hydrating, sports, Swedish, hot stone, aroma, and more. And don't forget about their couples massages. Book your appointment today at thebodyshoplincoln.com. The Body Shop at 48th and A.
Get ready for an unforgettable night at Ignite Lincoln 15. On September 14th, Rococo Theater will come alive with captivating stories from diverse voices that inspire change and spark connection. You'll hear from 12 passionate speakers, including our 5 nonprofit finalists, who are making a real impact. Be part of this remarkable event that celebrates the power of storytelling. Secure your spot now by purchasing tickets at ignitelincoln.org and join us in creating a brighter future together. Don't miss your chance to experience Ignite Lincoln 15, a night of inspiration, community, and possibility.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
Jay Foreman here. Join us on Thursday, August 31st for our pregame show for Nebraska against Minnesota at the Warhorse Casino in Southwest Lincoln. We'll go from 4 p.m. to kickoff at 7 p.m. with the whole ticket crew. Make sure to drop by and see us at the Warhorse Casino.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Smoked meats, amazing sides. The only problem when they fix you a plate is that at some point, that plate will be empty. But hear me out. What if that plate was never empty? That dream can be your reality with the Mary Ellen's Express Lunch Buffet. From 11 to 2 every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. One price, all you can eat, and it even comes with a drink. Tell your boss you're taking a long lunch and get down there. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake. Let them fix you a plate. Sunday morning. It's quiet. Not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a slight chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, partly sunny skies. We'll see an afternoon high temperature of around 88. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low of around 62. Tomorrow, we'll see a lot more sunshine and seasonal high temperatures with an afternoon high of around 87. Meteorologist Kyle Tucker from 3.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
You've driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing, at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money, and you can buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere. Stop by 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to GELandscapeSupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
Warning, this ad will use the F word often, so listen at your own risk. Family fun, fun with friends, freedom from fuel, free Yeti cooler, free driveway delivery. Hey, this is Carl from Nebraska Golf Carts and Priced Right Auto, and we have the all-electric Bentelli Fun Carts, and they are a blast. Plenty of fun colors, and these street legal carts come in both 4 and 6 passenger. Tell us you heard us on the ticket and get a free Yeti cooler with your purchase. Hurry, supply is limited. Check them out at 1235 West O in Lincoln or NebraskaGolfCarts.com.
Hey guys, it's Nick Sainer. Join me and Jay Foreman this Friday night at 7 p.m. for Lincoln Southeast versus Lincoln East. Both the Knights and the Spartans look to bounce back after dropping their season openers in week 1. And you can hear all the action unfold with Jay breaking it down alongside me better than anybody else. Kickoff is slated for 7 p.m. from Seacrest Field, but pregame starts at 6:40 p.m. It's high school football and Friday Night Lights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up our confidence check hour here during On the Block, Austin Norman and Eric Strickland with you. We're going to dive into a little bit of Nebraska, Minnesota here, Strick. So the first question I have for you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that Jeff Sims has fewer than 2 turnovers against Minnesota?
I'm going to say 7, and I'm going to say that I think he's going to be extremely focused on doing that. I think that's been something that Coach Rule and the staff and Coach Satterfield has been really harping on is taking care of the ball. I think when they look at last year, I think when they look at what they did and the losses that they've had. Now, I think Rule is pretty good and in taking history, listening to them, watching them, observing them, and learning on how to correct them. And I think it's all a part of being and establishing a solid program.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Coach Rule has really been harping on that, and I'm going to say he's going to be extremely focused. I don't think he's going to be tight and tentative, but I think he's going to be extremely focused not to have just a bunch of errors to where that's the case.
The only worry is he too tight then? Is he too focused? That makes him hesitant, I guess, to some degree. I don't think he fumbles against Minnesota. I know he's had issues with that in the past. I'm more worried about the interceptions.
Yeah.
So with Jeff Sims, at least in game 1.
Yeah.
Right. Scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that the defense can hold Minnesota to 150 rushing yards or less on Thursday?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say 8. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say this Nebraska team especially early on, is going to try to set a precedent and establish that regard for stopping the running game in the Big Ten, so that other Big Ten schools are watching, they're observing, and they're not salivating. Like, there's a difference between watching and say, "Oh, okay, I've got some work to do," as opposed to, if you're on the stream, you would understand what I'm saying. It's that's the feeling I got when I knew there was a certain player that I was going to play against this game, and I knew he was weak defensively, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great one for me. You know what I mean? It was the same thing like when we played Oklahoma State and Brooks Thompson. That's all I've been hearing about, this guy named Brooks Thompson. Yeah, Oklahoma State, and I'm like, ooh, his handle's kind of shaky to me. I'm about to get in that. You know what I mean? And I think I stole one and had a reverse dunk. That's what reverse dunk. And I got another one, ripped him, and had another dunk down there in Oklahoma State. And so I want this Nebraska team to do the same type of thing where they are staunch in the run. Like, I mean, I'm hoping under 100. Like, I'm hoping, if they can get into the 90s, okay, cool, but I'm hoping under 100 and sets a tone and a precedent for the Big Ten.
Absolutely. If Nebraska holds Minnesota to 100 or fewer rushing yards, I think Nebraska controls that game. That's huge. My confidence level.
That's why I think it's going to be a focus, a need, have to.
Yeah. I mean, it's going from teams saying, ooh, Nebraska week to ooh, Nebraska week.
Right.
And that's a huge difference we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one as it relates to Minnesota. What's your confidence level that Gabe Ervin is better than Anthony Grant right now?
I'm going to say 7. I think he's earned it. This is something that we were starting to hear. We didn't, get to see a lot of it because the injury popped again. But we were starting to hear that Gabe Ervin is back on track, and you saw signs of it, but you didn't get to see enough. I'm going to step out on a limb and say that's the case. Man, you guys, thank you for your engagement on the YouTube stream, on the Facebook stream. Thank you guys for tapping in. We'll try to get to some of those questions and the like shortly.
Yeah, I was just going to get to Jim, who says he thinks Marcus Satterfield will be able to confuse the defense, or at least not let them get comfortable with the adjustments they make by using superior play calling. That's the hope, right?
That's
and
what I'm thinking about.
There's a fine line, Strick, between confusing the defense with complexity and confusing the offense with complexity, right? This is a young offense that hasn't played a lot of snaps together, right? You might have some experienced guys who've played some college football before, but not together, not in a conference game week 1. So you can't be too simple, too vanilla, but you also can't go overboard to confuse the defense because you run the risk of confusing your own guys.
Yeah, I think that's the case. And he also makes another point on the offensive side of things. When teams are going to try to pressure you, or they're going to try to cause you, because this is the thing that they want to do to Sims. They want to make it tight, tense, so that he makes mistakes, right? So they're going to be throwing pressure. And so Jim makes the statement on here also that with that, we could use other elements, the fullback, the tight ends, delays, draws, kind of tight ends with block and then release into drags or upfield, just different things to make those linebackers have to check it and then go to, an aggressive mode, which then something comes behind them or something creeps out into the flat or something like that, which would cause a little bit of angst with those or hesitation to kind of slow those guys up a little bit. I'm thinking that the offense is going to look to do some stuff like that too.
Submissions from Mike Melbyhue here on Sunday Rewind and the Finish Line Sunday afternoons. He says Sims has fewer than 2 turnovers. The defense holds Minnesota below 200 rushing yards. 200 is not 150 though. So that's a big difference. And also he agrees with you that Gabe is better than Anthony Grant right now.
Melby's my guy.
Melby's our guy.
He's got a great, Melby is a freaking dictionary or an encyclopedia. We love you, Mike Melby. Thank you so much, man, for chiming in.
Absolutely. 402-464-5685. Let us know your confidence rankings for Nebraska football as it heads up to Minnesota for game number 1. We're going to take a break. We'll keep some Husker football conversation going with Brian Munson at 3:30, talk some recruiting. But Strick, I kind of want to get inside your head and a locker room space. Matthew Stafford is the specific example, but I think his struggles to connect with younger teammates can apply to locker rooms across the country, regardless of sport. I want to get into that, what he means, what that could look like as we get into hour 2 of On the Block.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Junior Achievement of Lincoln inspires and prepares young people for success. Learn more about the people involved in the organization and the success stories over the years each Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. for the Junior Achievement Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You've driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing, at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money, and you can buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere. Stop by 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to gelandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
Sunday morning. It's quiet. Not a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Smoked meats, amazing sides. The only problem when they fix you a plate is that at some point, that plate will be empty. But hear me out. What if that plate was never empty? That dream can be your reality with the Mary Ellen's Express Lunch Buffet. From 11 to 2 every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. One price, all you can eat, and it even comes with a drink. Tell your boss you're taking a long lunch and get down there. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake. Let them fix you a plate.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
You had to know that when Wingstop set out to make a crispy, juicy chicken sandwich, they wouldn't make it in just one flavor. They'd make it in all 12. Like lemon pepper, mango habanero, hickory smoked barbecue, and OG hot. So why have one new favorite chicken sandwich when you can have 12? Try the new sauced and tossed Wingstop chicken sandwich today for only $5.49 at Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Valid for a limited time and available at participating Wingstop locations only while supplies last. Price subject to applicable taxes and fees.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy Labor Day. They are thankful for everyone in the workforce who makes this country great and celebrate a deserved day off to rest and reflect. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialist here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
Okay, it's time to sell house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com. Arnold's Tavern in Havelock is the place to be this summer and the best place in town for shuffleboard. Come on Wednesdays and learn from some of the best players in town for the Shuffleboard Corner. Come on Sundays for Open House League all day starting at 11 a.m. and enjoy $3 tall boys and $3 wells. Shake off the start to the work week with karaoke on Monday nights. And don't forget, happy hour is every day 3 to 6 p.m., and you are always welcome to bring in your own food. Arnold's Tavern, in the heart of Havelock.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934, and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today. I'm ready. Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Führer's cheese spread? I can't stop eating it. Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Führer's cheese spread today. Found in most local grocery stores.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! You're going to go out of here. That's the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and youth basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
That's right. Hour 2 on the block on a game week Monday. I'm Austin Norman. He's Eric Strickland. You can tell it's game
Jay
week.
Feezy.
Jay Foreman in the house. Welcome, Jay.
Man,
Half an hour early. 45 minutes early.
Thank you.
53 minutes early.
Drop a beat for us one time. Jazzy
I ain't got no beats, man. Brother can't sing or nothing.
Well, that's all good, but I listen, I know you got somewhere I want to be, but this is why I wanted to bring Jay into this conversation because it's the same, but it's different. And it's good to have a different perspective from different types of locker rooms. Mm-hmm. But the ultimate, let me just, not the ultimate, but the end of it all is pretty much the way we handle it and deal with it. But a lot have been going on with Matthew Stafford, it sounds like. There's like 36 rookies that are on his team. Wow. Yeah. There's only like 4 veterans like Tyler Higbee,
Donald Cubb,
Donald
Cooper,
and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
And there's like 4 of them total.
That's it.
Yeah. So most of those guys are all young guys. So you've got a bunch of young guys in a new locker room, and the generations have changed. It has shifted. We come from a generation, Jay, and this is what I'm going to get into. I'll give you the backstory on it when Jay kind of gets away. But we come from a generation where we didn't have these communication devices like this.
Right.
Where literally everything you do can be done. The phone was literally just a talk.
Right. That's
that's the closest you get.
Nothing. Yeah.
And I remember I had the big fat Motorola one, the one that you had to carry on your shoulder.
The Miami Vice.
Yes. So you know what I'm talking about. So we didn't have the same communication devices that they do these days, but there was also a hierarchy when you're dealing in a locker room. So when you came into a locker room, I want to hear your perspective on what that was like, and then I'll give it from the basketball side of things as well. But how was it for you in the connections, in the relationships, in the camaraderie? How did the unification of the group? Because he's struggling, trying to interact, commune. They look at him
differently because
they
grew up watching him, and and I do have experience with that because I don't know if Buffalo thought I was going to make the team, but the only locker that was open was between Thurman Thomas and Bruce Smith. I watched
Welcome to the league, Jay.
And I grew up watching both of them. So, like, I was always told, and Ted Washington was great. First of all, he's intimidating, but he just said, hey, look, man, just keep your mouth shut and make plays, right? And so I always knew, like, my experience coming from Nebraska was, shut up and show up and let your pads do your talking. Mm-hmm. And, you got to do the I wouldn't even call it hazing. It's just rookie duties, right? And so the pecking order was you're doing a lot of listening and a lot of learning. And that's what I did. And that's what, and I was blessed to be in the cusp of those conversations that they were having. And so, but the disconnect, now Squatty, Thurman Thomas, his nickname is Squatty. He was great because he's going to talk to everybody because he's going to talk junk to you. You know, but then he gonna be there.
That breaks the walls down.
And then he's
Somebody
gonna be,
like
and then he's gonna be like, look, man, this is what you need to look
Yeah.
for. This is what this running back likes to do, especially for young guys, because he wants to win. Whereas Bruce, I felt like was more of an iconic figure, and no way I was on his level as a rookie or a second-year guy. So that's where I could understand with Matthew Stafford. But when we got in the huddle, Bruce was like, hey, we in this. And my experience was, to be honest with you, I remember I got in the game against Tampa. And, you know, I was doing okay. But then, Pat, we came to money time, and we had a timeout. You know, they called a defense over. And we ran this like D-tackle linebacker stunt, and he was like, "I need you to make this play."
He knew what was going to draw.
Right,
Okay.
right. You got to make this play. No, he's like, you don't play like no rookie. And so I mean, that's where it goes. But it's different now because we grew up communicating.
Yes.
Right? So
I had to look you in your face. If I wanted to talk to the honey, I had to go to the door. I had to put it on a note. I had to do something.
We had
a
to,
different type of
even in the
communication.
line room, right? From John, I always talk about John Hollisack. Give me a ride home after minicamp. He was a 5th round pick, you know, but he was been there for a while. I was the late 5th round pick. I'm a linebacker. He's a linebacker, and he was just spitting game
science,
just talking to me. Hey man, look, man, I've been there. You probably should have went a little higher. You got to play with a chip on your shoulder. Yeah, you worry about how you play on defense. He's like, you got to make 1 or 2 big plays on special teams. That's how, I mean, he's just doing all that stuff. And then he finding out where I'm from, what makes me tick. And then boom, I'm just tagging along with him. And then he give you like little snidbits when you get into a tight game. He'd be like, shoot, rookie. But then I still was watching from across the weight room, seeing how him and Jay Remusma was his big workout partner. So then I just so they were doing something. I'd wait for them to leave, then I'd go do it, you know. But then the communication was there, like even with the coaches, and the position coaches, like Ted Cottrell and Wade were great, and they would pull you aside and it's like, okay, you know, they knew once that rookie wall hit you, and I don't know if you had that strict, where it's like, you know, you got 4 preseason games, 6 weeks training camp, and you get to like week 10, you know, I'm thinking like the season's over. This is when we go into overdrive in the league, and you're trying to finish good. So that was good. And then, but like the communication was great once you got in there. But the communication in the pecking order is what I needed, though, because not to keep me down. It's like you just got to learn by steps, right? So here's an example. So yeah, I got in as a rookie, played well, right? You still haven't arrived. You get in their second year, okay, you got some respect because you made it 1 year. Let's see if you can get better, you know, and you're real deal. Okay, you made it the second year and you got a little bit better. So you went from no voice to just like a faint voice. Your third year after your legitimate starter, and then your third year you play, okay, you got a voice. And then the fourth year, then you become like the alpha, and then you kind of are in there. But then that's how it should go, and that's how teams are built. You know what I mean? That's how
keyword teams
and built.
Yes.
Right. So you knew who's coming up the pipe. You knew what made each other tick. Right. There's some. I mean, to be like, so when we did walkthroughs before we go on the road, and I would get caught in the middle between Bruce Smith and Sam Rogers, and they would just be going at each other.
Yeah.
And you better not laugh.
That's it.
You better not laugh.
Yeah, you just
when you're a rookie,
just listen. Yeah,
because if you start laughing,
because now they own you.
They own me.
Yeah,
and Ted Washington to this day, and Marcellus Wiley, what we call him Wild Style. Every time I see him or they hit me on like Twitter or whatever, they be giving me the business. So Ted lives in Charlotte.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So then, like sometimes I run into him at the barbershop in Marcellus. You know, he's out in L.A. or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll hit him up, and he did. You know, we always get after each other. But that was because I was a young guy.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they always made fun of me because I had flat feet. So when we played in the snow, they said that the only reason I was making tackles because my feet was flat. You know,
they were stuck to the ground.
Yeah, they talk about I had skis and stuff. So then they from Minnesota, so they always reference that though from a rookie.
Yeah.
And then we kept in touch with each other, you know, throughout the league.
And see, that's the thing. And I know Jay's you got to dip out of here. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah,
insight,
man, I'll be
Jay.
right back.
We'll catch him on the crossover. But again, Austin, this is the thing about it, just from the NBA perspective, and I can understand what Stafford's going through. It's just because there's been generational shifts. This thing has become such a major importance in the lives and the livelihood. This is the reason why coaches today, Austin, they have to basically, I think if you watch Well Off Media or you watch, guys that are in the locker room, and you've seen certain situations when he was coaching at Jackson State and now at Colorado, where he basically has to yell at them. You hear other coaches talk about it, but what are you doing sending tweets and this? We're in the middle of a freaking game. You know what I'm saying? And that's their mentality. Tweet and sending Instagram pictures inside the locker room. Bro, that's to Tuesday or something. And, don't be doing that during the game. That's the difference of the time that we live in. And it's unfortunate because guys like Stafford, even though Stafford's not, our age, but he still was on the cusp of still needing to have some communication, and being able to sit down and enjoy conversation with your brethren. You know what I mean?
That part is the part that I'm curious about. And these comments that I'm going to read are coming from his wife, Kelly. Apparently Matthew to his wife says, I don't know. Am I the dad? Do I take their phones? What do I do here? He says, I want them to see me not as a coach. And that's tough because you want that respect. He's been around the league for a while.
But 15 years?
But at the same time, he's one of them. He's still a player, right? And that I can only imagine how tough that would be. I mean, it's a different generation from Matthew Stafford to some of these kids. So what was your experience like, coming in as a rookie, trying to get acclimated to the league? And then when you get to year 7, 8, 9, was that any different as you see rookies come into the league?
Well, this is why I say it's the same, but it's different, just different locker rooms. It's the same because when I came in, even though I was the same age as Jason Kidd, he was the leader of the team. Leader not by voice, but by play. Jason was very quiet. But then you had Mashburn, same way, very quiet. Jimmy, a little bit more vocal. But on the team, that team was Derek Harper. And Derek Harper was an alpha, very outspoken. And so I just came in and I would just sit and I would just make sure I did my job. What I was called on to do, if it was to change the pace, if it was to, guard 94 feet, if it was to make sure I knew what the assignments were, I needed to be on point and not really talk about it. And it wasn't until Derek Harper, we were playing, I think, the Houston Rockets, and Derek Harper, we were having stints of shooting woes. And, I was deferring. I was a deferring guy because I wasn't the guy. So I was, just doing my job. Derek says, no. And he cursed at me. We'd have to dump it. But he was like, we need you to shoot the ball. We need you to score. Yeah. He was really on me about it. And it's those type of things that leadership is what helped. So we hung out, me and Derek, we'd go out and eat sometimes. It's getting that veteran presence to then understand what, the conversations, they have a little bit more conversations at the top levels than I do, just to know, kind of get a better ear. And then it's to pay attention. But the new generation, they came in because they came in off of Instagram. They came in off of all these different, they come in thinking, I'm the guy already. And that's where the disconnect is. And this was what makes it hard, I think, going both ways, whether you're coming in as a rookie to try to be the head guy and lead the charge, like i.e. CJ Strouds and Bryce and, Anthony Rich, those guys, right? They know they have to listen to you, but you're going to have to prove it to them too, that you are worthy of that type of leadership role.
Obviously, every NBA team is built different, right? Some guys, the point guard's the leader, but in Denver, it's the center. In Nikola Jokic. In the NFL, it's the quarterback. Quarterback from day one has to step in and be a leader. So as you look at those three guys you mentioned, those three rookie quarterbacks that are all going to start, is their job of acclimating to the locker room easier because they're quarterback and they have to get to know everyone, or is it harder?
Well, I think we have a good sample size, and on both, I think going a couple of ways. One sample size, you look at Kyler Murray. right? You can look at just kind of the dysfunction. There's not a lot of stability. Yes, you came out and shined and showed improved early on, putting yourself in MVP voting, conversations. You played pretty well, but you didn't compound it. So now there's dissension. There's, some misunderstanding maybe with DeAndre Hopkins, and now you do the Instagram, that whole move with your
wiping
agent.
everything.
Yeah, so you're doing all of this stuff, and it just takes away from your ability to converse and have those type of relationships, because guys can't trust you. They can't trust you to be there. They can't trust you to do the job, because guess what? They're hearing the stories too. And then if they play favoritism to you, you cause another form of dysfunction within the group. So you look at the other side, Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes showed improved. You can look at Joe Burrow. You can look at those other guys. They came in and established themselves, and then the vocal parts of them began to come out. You can tell the difference between Mahomes by the way he handled situations in that, was it the championship game where his ankle was hurting, and he couldn't have done that as a rookie.
Mahomes is also an illustrative example too, because he sat a year.
Yeah.
Right. The Chiefs drafted him to be the guy and take over for Alex Smith, who had a really good year in his last year as starter. But Mahomes sat the bench that year, right? Maybe from the outside,
that's a humbling thing.
It is. Maybe from the outside, we were out, the Chiefs took a flyer on a project. We'll see if Andy Reid can make anything out of this guy. The conviction the Chiefs had to have to trade up from where they were to go get Patrick Mahomes tells me they knew he was always going to be the guy. That's a fine line to walk, where the organization wants to give you that confidence that you're our quarterback of the future, but you're also not starting right now. You still have to defer to Alex Smith. Push him, make him better, but he's going to push you and make you better. So how is Patrick Mahomes being the guy with that attitude while not being the guy on the field?
And see, that's a good point, but it's very similar to what we saw with Trey and with Love.
Sure.
Put in a similar position. And then you have the situation that I think you can get a really good understanding of what this conversation is like. You have the Tannehill and Malik Willis situation.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You understand? I think that tells the real story. That it says the quiet part out loud.
Screams it.
That part of it screams it. So that's where I'm like, I think this has kind of been going on. It's kind of festering on the wall. The guy that is capable of taking your place, do you want to help them? But the real good ones and the real good teams, they're the ones that do. And that's why the locker room is important. This is why I think you're going to see, because guess where it started? I think it started from Kyler Murray. And this is why I think your team is in a free-for-all to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? But then you look at the other side and you look at the Chiefs now, and you look at other teams like them, and you can see that there's a little bit more establishment of that leadership role.
The last thing I have on this before we get to Brian Munson to talk some Husker football recruiting in our next segment, it's a lot of talk about the locker room and those dynamics between younger players and more established players. How important is just the infrastructure of like support staff in helping some of these young guys come along? Because I feel like whenever we have, one of these hot shots come in, they usually get a wise lesson from someone that's not even on the coaching staff. Is that just anecdotal?
I mean, I think there are some teams that budget for that. There are some teams that put those type of individuals in their organizations or in their college. I think there's value to different positions of those type of roles all throughout the college game, because it's so much more than just getting on the court and going to practice and traveling and doing. It's so much more. There's so many more things that they deal with outside of schoolwork and writing papers and doing stuff like that. And I think sometimes those extra voices, those extra ears, and I've always said that some of us are better at hearing stuff from another peer or person as opposed to that authority figure, whether it be a coach or a parent or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's a lot easier to hear the same message coming from someone else, and that's why it's good to have these different peer groups.
From someone that's earned your respect versus someone that has it by default when you walk in, sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's Eric Strickland. I'm Austin Norman. Shout out to Jay Foreman. He'll be back in about half an hour or so to cross it over with us. We're going to step aside, call Brian Munson. Got some Husker football recruiting news over the weekend. We'll get into that. Maybe a little Minnesota preview with Brian as well after this.
It's not often a man wakes up and says, I feel the best I have in years. We hear this all the time at Limitless Mail, and it can happen to you when you go to Limitless Mail and get a blood test to see what your body is missing. That's how simple it is. Schedule a free consult with Limitless Mail. Discuss your symptoms. Do the blood test. If your lab results say you're low in testosterone, we can fix that. Age is just a number. You can feel your best again. Just ask Limitless Mail.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships, one with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
There's a buzz in the air at Kansas. Maybe it's the roar of fans here at the track, or the anticipation of the playoffs as drivers fight to move on to the next round and keep their championship hopes alive. Maybe it's the pulse of the heartland, the thrill of speed, or the sounds of grills sizzling in the campgrounds. Whatever it is, it will be one memorable weekend. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway, September 8th through the 10th. Get your tickets today at kansasspeedway.com.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, and they've scouted out the best Kawasaki side-by-side deals for you. Score up to $2,500 off the 2023 Kawasaki Teryx and up to $1,000 off Mule Pro FX and FXCs. Whether you want to handle the toughest task in a trusted, tried and true mule, or looking to dominate adventure in a Teryx, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered with a large selection of Kawasaki side-by-sides in stock at their new 27th and I-80 location. Hurry in, the clock is running down. Offer valid through 9/30/2023, subject to change without notice. Offer available on approved purchases of select new unregistered Kawasaki vehicles. Model and year exclusions apply. Cannot be combined with promotional retail financing rates. Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's specials through August 29th are $2 off Certified Piedmontese sausages and brats. And don't forget to check out their Friday feast this week and every week. Plus, big news, they have 2 new locations now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beers, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Hey guys, it's Nick Sainer. Join me and Jay Foreman this Friday night at 7 p.m. for Lincoln Southeast versus Lincoln East. Both the Knights and the Spartans look to bounce back after dropping their season openers in week 1. And you can hear all the action unfold with Jay breaking it down alongside me better than anybody else. Kickoff is slated for 7 p.m. from Seacrest Field, but pregame starts at 6:40 p.m. It's high school football and Friday Night Lights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You've driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing, at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money, and you can buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere. Stop by 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to GELandscapeSupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
Ready to upgrade your combine with new technology to make your harvest more efficient, meaning more money in your pocket? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine for harvest. Plus, when you purchase a pre-owned combine from Landmark, you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network, along with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running, reducing downtime. View inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Smoked meats, amazing sides. The only problem when they fix you a plate is that at some point, that plate will be empty. But hear me out. What if that plate was never empty? That dream can be your reality with the Mary Ellen's Express Lunch Buffet. From 11 to 2 every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. One price, all you can eat, and it even comes with a drink. Tell your boss you're taking a long lunch and get down there. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake. Let them fix you a plate.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Switching the conversation back to Husker football as we go to our VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where we understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We welcome in Brian Munson of Husker Online, our recruiting expert insider. Brian, you're not melted into a puddle. You made it.
I made it through. I swear it was very close at times. We saw 5 minutes of this precipitation type process fall from the sky last week, and we didn't even have a name for it, so we called it rain.
I like that name.
But it cooled down. It's cooled down a little bit. Like we're down to like 92 today, and then I think it's back up game day. I think it's like 103, 104. So. It's a short amount of reprieve, but we'll take it. We'll take anything. The air conditioner for us has started to pant. So it's been a long summer.
Oh, that's a fact. It definitely it's definitely been a strain on the circuitry and also the pumping out and the Freon. I'm sure a lot of people had to go get extra Freon. But
in my wallet, bro, to pay for it.
oh yeah. Some of my friends, I was talking to them and they were telling me that, man, the doggone bills were shooting 6, 7, up to 1,000, depending on the size of the house. So it's crazy.
I know, crazy.
Yeah.
Let's get into some recruiting. The commitment yesterday, Brian, Connor Booth out of Wahoo Newman commits to Nebraska. What do you make of that commitment in the player?
It's a little bit surprising. So first of all, Connor is such a great kid and had such a tremendous time talking to him since he had the unreal performance at the Nebraska camp in June. And the surprising part about it was just the timing. I wasn't really anticipating 2025s kind of jumping into the class quite yet. I think that Nebraska very much wants to get on to the 2025s, the 2026s, and the 2027s. They've offered a number of guys going back to maybe the first week in August, or so. But over the last 3 weeks, they've been offering a lot of those guys as younger guys. And I think that they hoped that they would be in a position to where they could, put a kind of couple of finishing touches on the class, maybe hang out there trying to catch, another big fish or two and add them to the group but really to kind of turn the corner. And obviously Connor would have been, one of those top guys that were remaining, kind of the Christian Jones and then a Connor Booth, the two in-state guys, obviously with the offers. So Connor, however, is a little bit more interesting. While Christian has the recruiting ranking and, the schools, Notre Dame and others kind of after him, Connor just had the one offer. But the interesting part was, he had a lot of teams sniffing around on him, and he was really going through kind of a logistical problem. And the logistical problem was he needed to find find out if Nebraska was going to be willing to allow him to play football and baseball. And he had a lot of programs that were very, kind of concerned, at least a little bit, and needed to go through more of a true evaluation of him a little bit to kind of get into that, to see if he was, if there's the football coaches have to float the scholarship. You are 100% on the 85. If you want to then play baseball, you're kind of a walk-on guy. And you have to kind of then go ahead and go over there and do your thing. And not all coaches will agree to that, especially in this day and age where you've got to be really, really, truly effective, like with your 85-man roster. So once he had kind of gotten that all cleared up with Nebraska last week, it was just a matter of time before he did it. But he worked that process tremendously early, and I think that's good on him. I mean, to go ahead and get this thing out of the way. But he's a guy that, had he not had to go through all of the travel baseball and really kind of get out there and do that thing, and let's say he hits another 5-6 camps this summer, I think it's a completely different story about what we're talking about right now. I think you're talking about a guy that picks up a number of more offers, whether it was baseball or football, to be honest with you. And I think he would have been a little bit more, not difficult to kind of land, but I think he would have been one of those guys that people, would have seen that as a little bit more of a higher rated kind of guy. I think there's kind of a knock against him on that. I don't knock him on anything. He averaged almost 13 yards a carry last year, playing fullback, and now he's playing feature back for Newman. So I think he's enjoying the different view from having some lead blockers, in front of him and letting the play develop a little bit. He's got great vision. He's got great acceleration, great speed. And a work ethic to kind of go along with it. 6'1.5" and about 215, pretty ideal sized, for a guy that's playing high school football in Nebraska as a running back. Kind of guy that you could probably put another 5-10 pounds on right now, just before he kind of ends up coming to Nebraska, and feel pretty good about it.
He's a 2025 commit. An offer went out to David. I assume it's Kuku, K-U-K-U. What can you tell us about the connection and the player?
Yeah, interesting story, because On3 has him rated as a wide receiver. And to be honest with you, the 2025 wide receiver board is loaded. I mean, they are just, it's like offensive tackle. They are just loaded at guys that are regional guys or Texas guys, or, people they found during summer camps or whatever, just guys that you would kind of put him into a little bit different of a category, because, Nebraska has a little bit more of a tendency to get some of those dudes because they've got these built-in relationships. So you see this kid from Washington, and he's rated as a wide receiver, then he picks up his very first offer. And I go, something's not right. And I put on the film, and I think the first play was him as a wide receiver, but the very second play was like him playing corner, and he was on the dude's hip the entire time. So I figured as a defensive player, because when I wrote up my 3 and out a week before for the top 2025 players kind of on Nebraska's board, I had a real hard time finding a cornerback, or multiple cornerbacks, I guess I should say. It was very evident to me that the board was very light at that position. And then over the next day or two, there's another one that Nebraska had offered in Hawaii. Aiden, I can't remember what his last name is, but they'd offered 2 defensive backs basically in 2 days following that story. So I think it was pretty clear to them too that they were needing to find additional guys in that class for that position. So Kuku is he has a bit of a relationship back to Nebraska through his coaching staff. So his coach knows Omar Hales. It seems like everybody knows Omar Hales at Nebraska, and they picked up the phone. They got a chance to get his film over to him. The film got shared with the Nebraska coaching staff. Coaching staff liked it, and they made an offer. And surprisingly, it was Kuku's first offer. And it's kind of crazy, man, because he took some visits that would kind of tell you that he was probably very, very close to picking up his first offer from, very shortly down the line. So Nebraska to kind of beat that to the punch. I think it sets him up probably for a pretty good relationship here, and maybe a chance to get him back on campus sometime in the fall.
Just how much weight does that first offer hold for a school and for a player? Is it that big a deal if he was close to the verge of other offers? What does that mean if the team's the first offer for a guy like him?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, you can have a situation where the player really respects the fact that a school stuck their neck out and believed in you before maybe some more, regional schools, had started paying attention to you, or after you had visited a few more schools and they didn't offer you, all of a sudden they're starting to pick up their recruiting, attention for you. So I think it just really depends on the lens and the perspective in which you kind of want to take a look at it. I think obviously there's some parts there that have to kind of follow through. I wouldn't consider David to be a regional recruit, although the Big Ten footprint is going to be kind of extending that way. So that's kind of an interesting, kind of dynamic with the situation, because it's really no longer, it's tough to kind of stay relevant out there on the West Coast. Well, it's not anymore. And you got some teams that are swinging over to the Big Ten, and the Big Ten network is going to be obviously something that a few more people need to find out, how to find that channel in their cable package. So it's one of those things, man. I think it's really going to be interesting to see how the interest kind of picks up for him. And obviously if he's the kind of guy that isn't as focused about staying as much in the area, and if Nebraska can get him on campus to see what he really feels about it.
Oh, that's great. I want to stay right there for just 1 second, just a little bit of an expanded commentary on that specific discussion, because do you think we're kind of teetering in a zone now of recruits and those relationships and the importance of those, especially early on, because we've just seen so much last minute, last second jump on the bandwagon, doesn't really work out. So you're a transfer portal guy, not just maybe one, but 2 times. But it's if now a grouping or a team or an organization really believes in you, that means they're going to put their effort into you, and you're becoming the best part of you for the program. And are they beginning to see that makes a difference? Are you starting to kind of see a little bit of trajectory towards that trend?
They may not say it. They, being the recruits, may not say it that's a huge thing to them, but you could kind of probably spell it out to them. You probably would need an easel and a chart and a graph to kind of show it to them a little bit. But I think through the recruits' words of how they kind of view the Nebraska coaching staff, of being genuine, of being down to earth, being relatable. I would even go as far as to the guys that would say that they were being recruited the hardest, by the Nebraska staff. I think when you kind of put all those things together and you kind of then ask them to kind of sum it up, summarize what that all means to you, I think that you could get them to say at that point, that the relationships were important, and that Nebraska saw them, more than just being a guy that they were just going to offer. They were going to recruit them. They were not just going to recruit them. They were going to recruit, their high school coaches, their family members, their mom, their kids, their pastors. Nebraska staff is not stopping with just the recruiting of the individual, or just making the offer for the sake of making the offer, because it seems like that's also a process for some schools. And I don't really understand that, to be honest with you, but Nebraska is following it up, and they're going 2, 3, 4 levels deep to go ahead and make sure that they're getting a chance really to get that guy, especially the ones that they zero in on. And obviously we know there's going to be 300 some offers that are going to get made, and you can't afford to do that, but there's a way of kind of filtering guys out as the process kind of happens, and the offer gets made, and you figure out what your real likelihood is of kind of getting a guy, initially, then maybe settling into more of a prioritized list based on likelihood. But I think that those guys that end up in that bucket, to where Nebraska can really turn up the burners and get after them a little bit and show that kind of recruiting attention, they would tell you in the end that relationships were huge. And that's probably one of the biggest things right there when it comes to keeping your roster together, is knowing that you have kind of that genuine relationship, with the coaches. And I think that the parents, obviously, as a parent myself, got to totally appreciate that you can feel comfortable with sending your kid, sometimes hundreds of miles away to go basically become a man in a lot of different ways, playing for a coach, at a school.
Brian, I want to kind of zero in on that too with, the first offer importance. Especially in Nebraska, where I think a lot of fans place a lot of emphasis on, the 500-mile radius, like we've heard other staffs bring up before. You've mentioned on this show too, how the talent in the state is growing, expanding. There are more and more prospects. Is it still that individual line for Nebraska with these guys for not being too early, but not being too late? Does it depend on the school they go to, their coach? But how does Nebraska balance being early enough while still making sure that they're confident in their evaluation with all these in-state prospects?
Great question. It's a slippery slope, because it almost feels like you have a couple of schools around the country that I feel like do have success, and they probably have some, geographic and other ties into the state that basically you would say it's not odd to see them, in the state recruiting, but some of their timing of their offers have been, and it almost feels like they're kind of trying to goad Nebraska, into kind of stepping it up and taking pace and keeping up with them a little bit. But I think that there's a little bit more of a natural process to it all. There's, you got the very great case of Caprice Keith, for example, out there in Omaha and Bellevue West, who is a fantastic looking player. Saw him in February. Wouldn't have guessed he was a sophomore. Not in a million years would have guessed that guy was a sophomore. And he picks up an offer from Iowa State recently, and clearly was going to be a guy I felt like, somewhere else down the line, he was going to get that Nebraska offer, and gets that interception in week 1 or week 0, I guess is what you would say, and picks up the Iowa State offer. So I think that here you're kind of seeing that. You're seeing the balance of, okay, you had a good week, and the other school had enough to kind of go off of to make the offer. And obviously, there's some challenges there. I mean, related to Breece Hall, his dad went away to New Mexico State. He's got ties back to the University of Nebraska too. He's got some legacy into there as well. But I think Nebraska just isn't quite ready yet to kind of go on that one. But they could be soon. So I think there is a little bit of a slippery slope about where you do finally offer. And I think Nebraska, though, like with Kalen last year or this year, they were able to kind of reconnect and say, look, we told you what was going to happen. This is exactly what's happening, and we're following through on the rest of our plan. I think that that's just as easy to kind of go ahead and explain where you were kind of at and why the Cyclones beat you to the punch, potentially like if you're a Caprice Keith.
Brian's got more on Caprice Keith again in the 3 and Out on Husker Online. Last thing, Brian, It is game week, so I want your thoughts on this too. Nebraska plays on the road the first 2 weeks. So here at the end of August, in the first week of September, as a coaching staff and as a recruiting staff, do you like having a couple extra weeks to prepare for official visits, or would you like to get them in as early as you can?
Being a new coaching staff, I would have preferred to have one of these first 2 games at home. I think you can kind of do a lot more with the environment there a little bit. I think that Minnesota is going to be tough. I think we know Boulder's going to be tough.
Yep.
It's one of those things, like that's probably like the most uncontrollable part of the whole scenario. And if things start going bad, they have a tendency sometimes to snowball. I think from an official visit perspective, what you really hope is that you have one of those late starts, very early on in your schedule. And like I said, I think Nebraska wants to turn the corner here pretty quickly and start moving on to 25, 26, 27s. But they do have a couple guys that they're still going to host, like Willis McGahee IV, who's a commitment, Brandon Baker. I think that there'll be some other dudes that are going to be coming in one of those first 2 weekends for NIU or for Michigan. But I think that they definitely want to start getting the visits going again. It's been a really quiet month of August. And I think it's one of those things where, recruiting is about momentum. It's about, the attention. And I think Nebraska obviously had to ramp up, what they were doing to get ready for the season. But now comes that careful balance with, getting the season going, staying with the season, and also making sure the recruiting is kind of moving forward. This is where that extra staff is going to pay off for Nebraska to kind of keep that going for them. So I think that they would have liked to have had maybe another weekend earlier than what they're getting. But I think that's what makes NIU and the evening game so important about their schedule in September.
There you have it from Brian Munson of Husker Online. Great look at Nebraska 2024, 2025, even some 2026 recruiting. Brian, as always, we appreciate the time. Enjoy game week. We made it, and here's to hoping recruiting picks back up.
All right, guys. Hopefully we'll be talking about a win next week. We'll talk to you soon.
That's the plan. There he is, Brian Munson of Husker Online with us on our Allo VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where we understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Kind of feel like we already crossed over with old school since Jay was in the building, but we're going to do it again. Crossover part 2 to wrap up on the block after this.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Tune in to the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln. It's the Malone Radio Show every Sunday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Smoked meats, amazing sides. The only problem when they fix you a plate is that at some point, that plate will be empty. But hear me out. What if that plate was never empty? That dream can be your reality with the Mary Ellen's Express Lunch Buffet. From 11 to 2 every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. One price, all you can eat, and it even comes with a drink. Tell your boss you're taking a long lunch and get down there. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake. Let them fix you a plate.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year, 17 times. Tell our listeners what it means to you and your customers.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, all of us are extremely proud to have earned this award, and I want all of our customers to know it's not just earned by one person's effort. It's the entire dealership. Sales, parts, and our amazing service department.
17 times. Wow. How does that compare to other Honda dealers?
This award is only given to the most elite dealerships that demonstrate excellence. We really do strive to go above and beyond for the ultimate customer experience before and after the sale, Charlie.
That's why for 2022, Honda of Lincoln is once again Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-9462.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Need service on your home air conditioner? No matter what brand you have, just call Bryant, 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices. Junior Achievement of Lincoln inspires and prepares young people for success. Learn more about the people involved in the organization and the success stories over the years each Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. for the Junior Achievement Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships, one with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
Get ready for an unforgettable night at Ignite Lincoln 15. On September 14th, Rococo Theater will come alive with captivating stories from diverse voices that inspire change and spark connection. You'll hear from 12 passionate speakers, including our 5 nonprofit finalists, who are making a real impact. Be part of this remarkable event that celebrates the power of storytelling. Secure your spot now by purchasing tickets at ignitelincoln.org and join us in creating a brighter future together. Don't miss your chance to experience Ignite Lincoln 15, a night of inspiration, community, and possibility.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a slight chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, partly sunny skies. We'll see an afternoon high temperature of around 88. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, and a low of around 62. Tomorrow, we'll see a lot more sunshine and seasonal high temperatures with an afternoon high of around 87. Meteorologist Kyle Puck from 93.7 Ticket and ticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
With that stiff jab.
He's back.
Yes, sir.
New jacket, though. Nice.
Yeah, you like that?
I do.
Like
Old
that?
Jones, actually.
Clean. Yeah. Adidas.
Clean as a whistle.
Hey, it's game week, baby. It's not even game week. Today's Monday. Games on Thursday.
Yeah.
This is like a Wednesday or Friday or Wednesday or Thursday.
Jay, it's popping off. Like, I'm excited, bro. Like, I'm really excited for this season. And
what are you most excited for? Just the newness?
Yes.
Just football in general?
Well, I would say football's always been my favorite.
Right.
So I get excited because of the strategy from week to week. It's intense because every game means something. Then I look at the Nebraska team, and it's exciting because it was so frustrating, and it's kind of like changing sheets on the bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you sleep on the bed and it's cool, it's comfortable, but there's nothing like that fresh change, and you just seem to sleep different.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me here for the Nebraska season. But there's so many uncertainties that I'm intently watching.
It's like it's like going through. It's almost like a full-on season of Hard Knocks, or it just from a fan perspective. And, me being a fan and alumni and former player, it's like, it's so new. I think you're going to learn, obviously the biggest thing is wins and losses, right? But you're going to learn so much, I think, about these players, like in this team and this coaching staff and their philosophy every single week, because, they're, it's new for them. It's new for a lot of players. They got some young coaches, where, this is a big step up for a lot of those coaches. So, as much as, they got enough players that have played before, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, even though you got a lot of new players, just think like Chief Borders and MJ Sherman. They've been in some big games. You know, like MJ Sherman and all them. They've played more. You know, he's been practicing longer in the year, the last 2 years, than anybody on that team. And so you got guys that have played before. So like, you know, it's not like they're a bunch of freshmen out of high school going to try to play. But then you got some coaches that look, like EJ, the running back coach. You know, it's a big step up from coaching at Connecticut. You know, it is. I mean, this is not taking anything away from, getting ready to play like their home game versus going to on us on the road is different, and the support is different. You know what I'm saying? Where a lot of times when you coach. Those situations, those players and the coaches, you got to create your own energy. Nebraska going to travel strong, right? And then you got like the McGuire, the wide receiver coach. Like this is a big step up for him. Like he's done really well.
You're the age of some of them. No, I'm just playing.
Well, Marcus Washington, I think, is older than him. but that and the age
That's neither here nor there.
And
Yeah,
the
it
age is,
doesn't mean anything.
really, to be honest with you, like his age is gone. That's not an issue anymore because at this point in time, he's established himself as a coach and a recruiter. But it's different because now he's showing up to a game. Now this is his first time and I'm willing to bet this is that coaching here is a bigger job than being an offensive analyst in Carolina. So this is your first time running a wide receiver meeting before a game. This is the first time making, like when I looked at that right there, I remember we'd have our linebacker tests. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like your last checkpoint. You know what I mean? Before you go, you got your own checkpoints as a coach. You got to make sure you hit on all of them.
Yeah. It's
got to be within 15 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And see how it all comes together.
He's up in the booth with a headset on.
It's on.
That part. One, I'm gonna throw a question to you, and I'm gonna also throw it at Jay. So here's the thing. We've had a lot of I love that you caught that. We have not much coming out of the camp. You have an inside road to kind of get in and hear some things and kind of test the pulse of the program a little bit. But for the most part, we haven't really heard much. How do you feel about the show that Nebraska is actually starting? I think it's a benefit to the program personally. But what's your thought on that? Is that kind of where they're saving a little bit more of their information to disseminate it to the people to have them to watch and
get
a little bit
I
more
never thought about it like that.
Yeah, it's a recruiting tool. I think it's a good one. I think it's a little bit of fan service as well. It's a little rougher around the edges than I would have thought. Not in terms of the production value, like it's really well produced, but in terms of some of the stuff they've allowed in, I don't think we ever would have seen that before. Some of the access, which I think is a good thing for the most part. It's interesting, but again, you have to take it with a grain of salt that this is what they want you to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think, I'll say this. I think it's, look, man, the publicity and all that stuff, it only can help Nebraska, right? And it goes hand in hand with the new facility open. So I think it's all a plus. And Matt Rule came in and kind of changed. Since you remember when he first got here, all the tweets and the emojis or whatever.
Yep.
So he's bringing limelight to this program. And then, you had a couple of those big time recruits from California with the number one running back and the offensive tackle still has Nebraska in their, final 8 and 5 or
Frazier,
whatever.
the running back, committed. Baker's coming on an official visit.
Okay,
the
well, but
tackle.
that's right. Yeah, Frazier did, but I'm saying he's still, always consideration. And so I think it's good. I think it's something that, they can, go along with. And I will say this, here's a perfect example. And I said this last year. One of the worst mistakes I think that happened was they decided to not let assistant coaches talk last year. And it was only the head coach and coordinators. I said that was the Mickey Joseph rule because I think people got scared because Mickey's voice was so strong. And the reason why his voice was so strong, because it was authentic. But the mistake that you made, though, is to understand this is if I'm the head coach and you two have strong voices, I'm still getting a W in the win column.
Whole thing, right?
And then, you know what? They're still going to come ask the head coach, and I'm going to get majority of the credit, right? But behind closed doors, I'm giving you your props. See, that's where it was wrong, though. You can't just accumulate and just take everything for yourself and then not do it. And here's why: because if I was a receiver in high school, right, and Mickey Joseph was recruiting me, or just say they did this. The assistants couldn't talk this year, and Garrett McGuire is recruiting me. I don't even know what he looks like, right? In the flesh. Now, I
don't
can
know
look,
how he talks.
I can look on the internet and I can talk to him on the phone, but I can't pick up on his energy for a whole season until
That's
I
real.
you
come on a visit, and then just that's only a small snippet.
And he on his best behavior.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to see him after
Yeah.
a hot practice and say a reporter or somewhere ask him a question and see how he does it. And again, not having access to this look in, then I wouldn't be able to see how he coaches or anything like that.
Yeah.
So what you did was you hurt yourself recruiting and branding wise by doing that. You get what I'm
No,
saying?
I'm with you because I was going to add on to that.
protect an ego.
I was going to add on to that.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, like, why wouldn't you? First of all, if you got somebody with a strong voice, and Mickey was down for the end, right? He wasn't putting himself before for anybody. So if you have a strong voice and that somebody that's impactful on your team, mind you, he made this
They're
impact.
not going to hinder you or undermine you.
Right.
They want to win and you to succeed.
Right. Now we're going to keep going with this.
Yeah.
This dude can do your job for you and let you just be the head coach, but you can't be intimidated for it. It's the same stuff that when I was down there and all that and championing for the team, they were like, "Oh, you playing both sides?" Nah, doc. I'm clearing off a lot of pathways for you. I'm putting a lot of lipstick on big for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the and my rule of doing that. He's understanding. The one thing I always say, one of the things I was told by one of my best friends, Sean Brace, and then Sean's coaching. So I'm gonna try to have him on the show, and I think we have Ron Johnson on next tomorrow. And he's a Minnesota guy, but it was Sean. One of the things he told me, man, he's like, Matt Rule is very aware of himself and where he's at, and what that told me is he's very confident in what he's doing, so he don't have to play hide and seek.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
That the confidence versus the insecurity, even from the outside, is obvious to tell.
Yeah,
that's in the locker room.
I think that's a big part of the problem. I would say in a lot of the programs, and is not allowing those strong voices to be around the program.
Yeah,
to help you and not to hinder you. And this is why I think this is good. Also, to tap on to what you were saying, is I think it's a great in look because one of the things that you have is perception, and perception can become reality, whether it be in life, politics, things you hear about it. It can come into the perception of why you choose or you don't choose or even look that direction.
Yeah.
Right. It can be, it doesn't matter if you're at a bar and you're sitting next to your brother and you say, dang, man, that's a beautiful lady over there. And then you see it, but then all of a sudden you hear, man, yeah, yeah, she talked to one of my boys and blah, and then your perception kicks in.
Yeah.
And really she's not that could be just some hating move.
Yeah.
But it can become your reality for you and could change. That could have been your wife. I mean, that's just an example.
Yeah.
But that's what I think this show could help in that department, because it allows you to see the city, the state,
the ins and outs
of
it. You get to see a lot of things, and you get to see a lot of the coaches, and you get to see a lot of players that you might not have access to. And so, but all that stuff is great, and it's good to build a program from a perception standpoint. And sometimes, it's just like this, man. We were at Big Ten Media Days, and was it Maria Taylor? And we were there. It was me, Rashawn, Farley, Amon there, and she was like, "Man, they got black people in Nebraska." And was dead serious.
I really thought that.
I can't.
I get that all the time, Jay. I get that every time.
And especially being down in Charlotte, because we're, I'm down there a lot more than he is. That's exactly what they say.
Oh yeah,
and that's the perception, right?
That's the perception.
And that's the perception that even back when Bo Pelini was here, and he said, once we get them on campus and get them here, and they get to experience a game day and get on campus, and they get to see Nebraska and fly into Omaha and do all that stuff, the closing percentage is high. The hard part is getting them there. And also the perception is that you also fight is you're going to fight what they do a lot more, I think, than when I was getting recruited. And I can't speak for Strick, is there's a lot of coaches now negative recruiting against other schools.
Oh yeah.
I think it's taken a whole nother level.
Yeah, that happens.
I mean, I think
there's no question.
Yeah. And it went to another level because of social media and all this other stuff. But I think Nebraska, has become an easy target because we haven't been winning. So then you got a double negative.
double whammy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I noticed you have your black pullover on. Is that because the black shirts were handed out this weekend? You can talk about them?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, one guy I felt that's missing, what the black shirts mean, what it means to me, and it's always a special day to get it. And, and then we're going to talk a little bit of NFL because Trey Lance got traded. Who's at fault and what could become of it? I know you down in Dallas a lot. Was it a good move by Jerry Jones? Is he putting Dak Prescott on notice, or is it one of those things that he's trying to be the Oakland Raiders and Al Davis of the South, and it's like anybody that was a first round pick, let's just see if you got any life out of you. The New England Patriots have made a living off of doing that when they were winning in that 20-year span.
Green Bay lit a fire under Aaron Rodgers with that love.
Right? Yeah, you got 2 MVPs. And what it could do. A lot of talk about it goes by quick. We only got an hour and 30 minutes, but we're going to get it all in. And plus, you know what? We got Thursday. We got after game show. We got pregame show out there at Warhorse. And then we got after game show here. I'll be on for about 2 hours of taking all them calls, man. Dodging all them bullets.
Yeah, they coming.
Like Tony Montana. Remember, we said, give me all your bullets. I eat all your bullets.
You're going to be like Neo on the Matrix.
That's what I need to be, right? Yeah. No, actually, we won't have any because Nebraska's going to win.
That's right. Let's get it.
There you go. Jay Foreman, Eric Strickland, Austin Norman. For Strick, I'm Austin. Spent on the block. Old school DP&J comes your way after this.
Proud to be voted best vape shop.
Generation V
Is thrilled to announce our newest location is now open at 27th and Superior.
Generation V.
Explore the largest selection of vape, Delta 8, Kratom, all your favorite brands of disposables, e-liquid, and premium THC flower.
Generation V.
We'll guide you through our extensive collection to help you find the perfect fit.
Generation V.
With locations in Lincoln, Omaha, Seward, York, Kearney, and Beatrice. Visit our newest store now open at 27th and Superior in Lincoln. GenerationV.com. E6 contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Summertime is in full swing, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams. From treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. They offer advice from real deck professionals to give you proper guidance to make your project go smoothly. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online at deckcityne.com or visit their new location just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway. Deck City, your local deck experts.
Jay Foreman here. Join us on Thursday, August 31st for our pregame show for Nebraska against Minnesota at the Warhorse Casino in Southwest Lincoln. We'll go from 4 p.m. to kickoff at 7 p.m. with the whole ticket crew. Make sure to drop by and see us at the Warhorse Casino.
There's a buzz in the air at Kansas as drivers fight to move on to the next round of the playoffs. NASCAR Playoff Weekend at Kansas Speedway, September through the 10th. Get your tickets today at kansasspeedway.com.
Great Diesel and Equipment Services is your go-to place in Lincoln for repairs and maintenance for trucks to Class 8 over-the-road trucks and trailers, from bumper pole utility to full-size semi. Gray performs DOT inspections and are a service provider for fleet companies like ARI, Element Fleet, and FleetNet. They're a family-owned business in operation since 1950, and they keep a clean, friendly shop. Customer service